Now to a few media items in the US where heaps is happening. First, let's have a listen to CNN being extremely critical of President Joe Biden.
This president has a pattern at this point of either inventing or embellishing stories about his own past, his biography. He did it 3 times in one speech last month alone. He claimed he had witnessed a bridge collapse in Pittsburgh when he actually showed up about 6 hours later. He claimed that his grandfather had died just days before he was born himself at the same hospital. In fact, his grandpa died more than a year before in a different state, not the same hospital. And he also repeated a favorite false story that I and others have debunked over and over again about a supposed conversation with an Amtrak train conductor he was friends with, who was actually deceased at the time the conversation would have had to take place. And that's not all. There are some more serious ones in my view. Previously in his presidency, he claimed at one point he'd been arrested during a civil rights protest when, in other versions of the story, he just said an officer had taken him home from a protest. He said he had visited the Pittsburgh synagogue where worshippers were killed in a 2018 mass shooting. In fact, he had actually spoken to the rabbi, but never went. And he's made a whole bunch of others too. He said at one point, Republicans like to bring this up, he said that he used to drive a tractor trailer, he used to drive an 18-wheeler. Never happened. The White House later clarified he used to drive a school bus at one point as a job briefly. School bus, of course, not an 18-wheeler. So whatever his intentions, whether it's foggy memory about stuff that's going on decades ago or deliberate embellishment, this is an unfortunate pattern that keeps coming up again and again with Joe Biden.
Caroline, that wasn't a Fox News segment. That was a segment on CNN where they systematically went through and fact-checked Joe Biden and found him quite wanting. What's going on?
I think it's got to the point where everyone has just stopped pretending. Like, for such a long time, the media over in the States, there was a lot of mollycoddling. There was a lot of not showing the things that probably should have been showed. And I remember when Trump was president and the media criticised him for drinking from a glass with 2 hands, right? If that same level of criticism had have been applied to Joe Biden, we would just have reams and reams of this stuff 24 hours a day. But I think it's actually got to the point where even they know they can't pretend anymore. They know that their credibility is being affected. He has now become so incapacitated, or seemingly incapacitated, I should say, that everyone's just gone, oh, well, we need to stop now, otherwise there will be nothing left to recover from.
Well said.